Yeah, absolutely. Going into MMA, I didn't expect to be at this point this quick, but we're here, and I'm excited. I'm looking to make the most of every single opportunity that I get, and that's, to me, what every single fight is. It's a big opportunity, and I'm just excited to perform.
I love it. Obviously, change of plans this week, change of opponent. Can you walk us through how that all unfolded? Was there any, discussion of the opponent, that sort of thing? How did it all unfold?
So I found out on Monday evening while I was training that my opponent had pulled out, and initially I'm just like, dang it, 10 weeks of camp, we're not going to get a fight. Frick, what am I going to do? And it was in the middle of my workout, so I'm like, all right, I might as well just finish this workout up. So I just went and finished up, and then, talked with my manager, and he was like, we think they might have a couple guys for you. We'll find out in the morning what the situation is, and so then in the morning I got a bout agreement, and I'm ready to go. So signed it, and here we are.
Did you have any concerns with facing a newcomer, right? Because does that really propel you forward or prove anything for the people that are looking for you to answer questions?
There were concerns, just because for me initially I felt like I'm not the type of guy to do last minute switch ups and stuff, and I'm very calculated, planned, and I felt like a little unsure of what to do, but the more we thought about it, the more I talked with my team, and I'm just very fortunate to have a great team. They kind of led me in the right direction, and I trust those people. And at the end of the day, I made the decision for what we're going to do. But yeah, I think that I'm just always trying to build my reputation, and it doesn't really matter who I'm fighting. I'm just going out there to do my best.
Do you find it challenging at all? Because it seems like unless you go out there and destroy this guy in 30 seconds, people are going to say, oh, that Bo guy's all hype. We told you he wasn't that guy. I mean, is it difficult? It seems like the expectations for you are almost unrealistic at this point.
It was pretty crazy after my last fight, because people were saying, oh, he had trouble taking Jamie Pickett down. He stuffed his takedown. And I was like, I took him down in 20 seconds. What are we talking about here? Let's be real. But I think that there's just going to be that expectation that's set, right? I'm 4-0 with 4 first-round finishes, and that's what people want to see me fail. A lot of people want to see me win, and there's just a lot of expectations. For me, I'm going out there to perform to the best of my ability, whether that's a first-round finish, whether that's a decision. That it's not really of concern, the result. I just am going out there to do my best, and everything else will take care of itself.
Nice. Last thing for me, you go out there and you do pick up this victory. How do you see your career progressing? Like you say, you didn't see it going this fast. I mean, are you already thinking am I ready for ranked opposition, or is that ridiculous to even consider at this point in your career? How do you see it progressing from this moment?
The main thing that I'm focused on is just improving, getting better. My pro debut was June of last year, so I'm 13 months into my professional career, and I'll have my 5th fight, and it's going fast. But I have a great team around me. I have a lot of people that are supporting me who have tons and tons of experience, and I lean on them a lot. So I'm just focused on doing what I can do, getting better, improving every day, and like I said, again, everything else will take care of itself.
Well, over here, I'm curious, given this was such a short notice fight, how much did your background as a collegiate wrestler, because you're going to have to wrestle 3-4 times a night, you might not know who the final 3 opponents are going to be before the first match?
Yeah, exactly. That was something that I referenced right away, just because it's, I think, a huge advantage for me. Going to the NCAA tournament, I'm going to have 5 matches over a weekend, and I don't even know who I'm going to wrestle in the second round, let alone the quarters, semis, or finals. So it's really nothing new, and that brings me a lot of confidence in knowing that I'm there to compete, and regardless of who it is, I've experienced things similar to this before, even if they're not the same, and I'm ready to go.
And when Robert Whitaker was in here, he said there's nothing more dangerous than fighting a guy with nothing to lose, because they don't have anything to lose in there. I'm curious how you view your new opponent, because he's 5 days notice. If he doesn't look great, people will just be like, oh, it was 5 days notice.
Yeah, I absolutely think that he is in that situation. He doesn't have anything to lose. I think that this is a great opportunity for him. Even if he loses, he might be in the UFC after this. So, it makes sense why he would take the fight. And for me, competing against people that have nothing to lose is nothing new. I've been doing that since I was a little kid, right? When I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I felt like that's how people competed against me. And so I have thousands of competition reps that way. And when I was in college, it was the same thing. People felt like they didn't have anything to lose, and they still lost.
I'm curious, just based off of that, when was the last person you faced either in MMA or wrestling where you were the underdog? Like, people would be surprised if you had won.
I don't know. I don't know the last time I was the underdog. Probably my sophomore year in college, which, that year I made the NCAA finals. I was competing against, the number one pound for pound guy in the NCAA. He had a 70-match win streak or so. And so, that's the last match that I think of as far as me being an underdog, where people thought I wasn't going to win. And a lot of my buddies made bets on that and won a lot of money. So I don't know. I guess that's it. But, I like being the favorite. I'm going to hopefully continue to be the favorite for the rest of my career.
And then final one for me. I know you're young in your career, but Saturday is going to be Robbie Lawler's final fight of his MMA career. So I'm curious, coming up, did you, as a wrestling fan and a wrestler, did you have a favorite Robbie Lawler memory or fight when you were watching?
Oh, yeah. My favorite Robbie Lawler memory is his fight against Rory McDonald. I can assume most people thought I was going to say that, but absolutely insane moment. And specifically in that fight was the moment, I think it was in between the 4th and 5th round, where the bell rang and they both stood in the center of the canvas, and Robbie Lawler just spit blood all over the canvas. And I was like, this dude's a freaking savage. So, being on the same card as him in his retirement fight is a huge honor for me, and I'm definitely a big Robbie Lawler fan.
Bo, back here to your left. Quick question for you. I don't know if you're aware, but you are currently at least sitting at likely being the biggest favorite in UFC history the Saturday night. And obviously the situation, late fight, first time in UFC for him. How does it feel that you, this early in your career, are making history?
It's pretty crazy, It makes sense to me. I think that the math checks out. But, for me, it's just about doing what I know how to do and going out there performing to the best of my ability. And it doesn't really matter, again, who I'm facing. I'm just going out there to perform, and I'm ready and prepared.
Perfect. And I know you just said the math checks out, and I got to ask you, you said minus 3,500 was good value. You said minus 1,200 was good value. How are you feeling at minus 24?
Great value. Hammer it.
Bo, over here. Again, you just got this opponent on a couple of days' notice. At this stage in your career as well, is it more about what you can bring to the table, not so much focus on the opponent, especially in this situation where, like I said, you probably didn't have a ton of time to prepare for who he is as an opponent?
I think that anytime you go into a fight, there's a ton of respect for your opponent. There has to be. When I fight, humility is one of the core, tenets of, I feel like, the way I perform. And, I believe in myself, so I'm going to say what I think and tell people my plans of what I'm going to do. But at the same time, when I'm fighting, it's really important for me to be humble. And so regardless of who it is out there, I'm going to be doing the same things, and that's fundamentals and just building that foundation and really building my reputation of how I compete. A lot of, every wrestling fan knows my reputation and knows how I compete, but most MMA fans don't. And so I'm just going to continue to build that reputation, like I said, amongst fans and amongst fighters the same.
Is your sort of expectation after this fight maybe getting a ranked opponent after this, or is that something you sort of talk to the UFC, talk to your management, kind of reassess after this one? Because I think when you were fighting Trayshawn initially, that was kind of the thought.
I'll for sure reassess, because to me, this is my main focus. I'm focused on Saturday. I don't ever overlook an opponent. I don't ever plan too far ahead. I'm really focused on this one, and so after it's over, we'll reassess. I'll talk with my team, and we'll make a decision.
And just last one from me. I know you still kind of keep tabs in the wrestling community. Do you kind of feel like we're going to see more wrestlers come over to MMA, people like yourself, having success, getting a lot of attention? Do you see more wrestlers kind of making that move?
Yeah, I absolutely see a lot of wrestlers making that move. I think it's a natural path, and it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of people that I communicate with that want to fight, that being my teammates. Anthony Casari is a 1-0 pro already. He's looking to continue to improve and hopefully be in the UFC as well soon. So if you're a 205er, you want to fight, hit up my boy, because he can't get a fight. But yeah, and then we have a ton of college guys that are in there training with me at American Top Team, and who want to transition to fighting. Roman Bravo Young just had a grappling match last week on Fight Pass. So I think that we're going to continue to build, and I'm going to continue to do my thing, and I want to be a team, right? Like, I like having people around me that are like-minded, and so I want to bring a new team into MMA and perform well.
Hey, Bo. Like you said, you've only been a pro for 13 months, and part of that you had a couple amateur fights. Coming from the wrestling community, what do you think of the MMA community thus far?
You know, the MMA community is definitely different than the wrestling community. I didn't really have expectations going in, but I feel like it's just massive. There's such a big platform, and you know, the sport's so young and it's growing so fast that it's just a really cool position to be in as a fighter. I think as a fan, it's a really cool position to be in as well, because you're always seeing new, unprecedented things. And so, you know, I think that obviously I have the support of the wrestling community, and you know, hopefully I continue to perform well and gain more support from the MMA community.
Like, what are your thoughts on the extreme fandom, right? Like you said, like if you don't go in there and start this guy within 15 seconds, you're a bum. Or if you don't take this guy down in 7 seconds, you're a bum. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting. It's a really interesting perspective to have, because, you know, most people that are saying these things have never fought, never trained, never performed in any way, and so they really can't relate. So for me, there's no judgment going towards them, because there's no basis or foundation of their ability to relate to that situation. So I want to, you know, meet them where they're at with grace and understand that, you know, that's their mindset. And for me, it really there's not much I can do about that besides, you know, be friendly and compete to the best of my ability, hopefully put on a show and educate a little bit.
Talk about your love of archery. You've really become a big fan of it, and it looks like you're improving quite fast. How'd you get into it?
You know, I have my family were big hunters, my dad, my grandpa, and that was something that they were always really interested in. But when I was really young, I started doing well in wrestling, and unfortunately, wrestling season, hunting season overlapped. So I wasn't hunting a lot growing up, and when I retired from wrestling, I realized, you know, I have a lot of time on my hands. I can set my schedule the way I want it to be, and so, you know, I thought about getting a bow and starting to get into archery hunting, and I've just really enjoyed it. I think that everything about it really speaks to me, and, you know, the discipline, the commitment, the technique, being able to go hunting and bring home meat for your family, you know, to support them and stuff is such a cool thing. And so for me, that's something I'm going to do as long as I can for the rest of my life. It's definitely something I'm really enthusiastic about. And yeah, anything I do, I'm going to try to get better at it and improve. And so, yeah, I'm always watching videos, studying archery, watching hunting videos and stuff like that, because I just love it.
Bo, just over here, at the back here. Just curious, obviously there's a big middleweight fight at the top of the card. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Robert Whittaker versus Dricus du Plessis, especially given the title implications as well.
I think it'll be a great fight. I think both those guys have a lot of experience, and, you know, have been able to have great performances. You know, I think that it'll be a good fight. I haven't really studied either of them a ton. I haven't watched a ton of film on them, so I don't feel equipped to and have a prediction. But, you know, I know both those guys are definitely very experienced, and I think it'll be, you know, an awesome competition.
And just for the main event as well, between Alex Volkanovski and Yair Rodriguez, any thoughts on that? How you think that goes down?
I think that I'm just excited to see two guys at the top of their game compete, because I love competition. I love it would be the same thing if I saw the number 1 and 2 guys in the world at chess compete. It's just exciting to me, because I love seeing excellence. I love seeing people perform at a high level, and that's what both those guys do. You know, they both, again, have a ton of experience and are able to do amazing things. So anytime that you match two guys up like that, it's going to be exciting.
Thank you.
Hey, Bo, back here in the back, and the right. You have a lot of wrestling experience, and you had mentioned before you've only started MMA just about 2 years ago. When you reflect on having the second pay-per-view opener of your career, and it's International Fight Week, and where you are now, what moment stands out for you most that you most appreciate?
You know, I think that I wouldn't say there's a specific moment that I appreciate more than any others. I would say that what I've appreciated the most about the past 2 years and getting into MMA is just being able to spend a lot of time and moments with the people that I love the most, that being my family, my wife, my teammates, my management team, all guys and girls that I'm super, super close with. And I just feel very fortunate and very blessed and lucky to have such great people around me. And so I just cherish every single one of them. And, right now I'm going to have about 40, 50 people coming out this weekend to support me. And I just love them so much. I just want to perform well. And us all being together is the best part of it.
I want to segue over to Brandon Moreno. You actually had interviewed him recently. What was that experience like, and did you pick his brain a little bit behind the scenes?
Yeah, I absolutely did. Again, a guy that competes at such a high level, that has been UFC champion, who is just such a awesome person, a fun guy to be around, and I feel like very grateful to have had the chance to just talk with him, pick his brain, and understand where he comes from, his mindset. That's something that's super interesting to me, is mindset of these guys, not only in MMA that who are champions and compete at a high level, but in all sports and all disciplines and in every area. And so whenever you get to talk to somebody like that, I'm really all ears and just grateful for those moments.
And your passions as well, not only hunting and MMA, but you also find yourself cooking a lot on the grill. Where did that love first start, and what are some of the things you've enjoyed most cooking?
I grew up from 9th grade through 12th in Texas, and barbecue is just such a huge part of the culture there. And so my dad was always grilling, smoking meats, and that was the same. You'd go over to a friend's house on the weekend, they'd do a brisket, and so that's just something that was really ingrained in me culturally and something that I loved. And I think, again, what's the best part about that is it's not grilling the meat and not making something taste amazing, but it's who you're with. And so for me, being with my family, with my friends, the people that I'm close with, being able to share that with them, that's what I love about it the most.
Thank you.
Hey, Bo, back to your left. There's always one clip that goes around, and it's of Islam Makhachev thinking that he can take down Jordan Burroughs. What do you think of that, and do you think it'd be a close match, and does he have any chance of taking down Jordan?
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, no, he doesn't have a chance. Jordan Burroughs, 7-time world champion, one of the greatest, not only American, but greatest wrestlers, period, in the world that anyone's ever seen. So, I don't really think that's a competitive situation, given that Islam doesn't really come from a wrestling background. You throw him in Sambo or in MMA, it's different. But in wrestling, it's not close.
And then can you talk about more like the growth of ATT Happy Valley, obviously being a somewhat of a new gym? Can you just talk about that more and how the growth is for you there?
ATT Happy Valley, we've been growing a ton. We have a great coaching staff there with Ailton Barboza and, him running the jiu-jitsu. And, we're going to continue to build. We have 3 pro fighters right now. We have a bunch of amateurs coming up, and the gym's small, right? We have less than 10 guys, but we're looking to continue to build and really take wrestling-based athletes into the next level of MMA and help them grow and perform. So if you're a wrestler out there that is interested in fighting, you can absolutely hit me up, and we have room on the team to grow. But it's just a start. So same as me in my career, it's on the up and up. ATT Happy Valley, we're going to be one of the premier gyms in the world shortly.
Thank you.
Bo, just right here. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Bo, right here. Going back to your interview with Brandon, I mean, you got some reporters over here trying to work, and you're here taking our jobs. I was just wondering, is this a more common thing you want to get involved with to be on our side of the table?
Yeah, absolutely. I just really appreciate learning anything, but especially about mindset. Mindset's something that is super interesting to me, and how people deal with pressure and perform, and what they do day in and day out to be able to just be who they are. And so, I'm starting a little podcast with Better, which is a sports betting platform, but I'm going to handle a lot of the media and as far as the combat sports go. And I'm just looking to interview people and kind of get insights to their mindset. But definitely not. I mean, if you guys got pointers for me, let me know. Shoot me a DM.
Hey, man, I got you. To talk about it, though, do you have any guys on your list right now that you'd really want to start interviewing first?
There are a ton of people, a ton of fighters. I would love to interview, let me think. There's a lot, but I don't want to name names and leave people out. But, a few fighters I'd be interested in interviewing, probably, I like Corey Sandhagen, I like Sean O'Malley, I like Cheeto Vera. All those guys are in the same weight, too, which is really interesting. But anybody that's doing things at a high level, again, doesn't have to be MMA. It could be boxing, it could be music, it could be business. Those are the people that I want to surround myself with and learn from.
Random question. Do you plan to grow out your hair again anytime soon?
The hair thing is interesting because it takes a while to get it to where I had it, and it's a lot of commitment and effort. And I'm fighting and turning around pretty quick, so I don't really have time to let it get to where I want it to be. So I'd have to take some time off of fighting, but I don't know if I'm willing to do that, so probably not.
Just last thing. First time a lot of us met you was last year at International Fight Week on Radio Row. You were coming by doing the interviews, and you kind of predicted this is where you would almost be a year from now. If we could ask you again now, where do you think you will be next International Fight Week next summer?
International Fight Week next summer, I plan on, at minimum, being fighting ranked opponents and getting right up in there in title contention. And so, hopefully I can continue to get fights. The most important part about that is getting fights, getting opponents, getting the right opponents. But I think at that point, I'll be closing in on my goals of, being UFC champ.